Okay, B rank Terran. Deja vu. First ZVT playing on this map. Oh. My split was no good there. Okay, let's go. Mining from that mineral patch is really important because of something called mineral boosting. On the right side, it just bounces. Also, that top mineral patch, you could also mineral boost it. I actually don't know how to do it, but you can at least speed it up a little bit if you just press C as it comes back. Similar to how Terrans and Protoss mineral boost. Whoops. But it's above my pay grade to know exactly how to execute it, so it like kind of bumps back and forth. Whoops, that's bad. Alright. So laggy, man. I hate it when they keep changing the latency back like that. At the pro level, mineral boosting is really important. Just because if you do it over and over and you mine the right mineral patches, everything is kind of pushed up by, you know, a few seconds. And that can mean a lot, actually, right? For your timings or whatever build that you're doing. Okay, we will do that. Usually you send the Overlord the other way, but you want to make sure you're in range of your natural to make sure you're not getting bunker rushed. Leave the Overlord over there just to see what's going on. We're going to play a really outdated 3-hatch Muta build. Mainly to teach general concepts. And also I find it to be a little bit easier to execute than 2-hatch Muta. We saw his SCV actually go out right there. So I actually imagine he's probably over there. Nope. Full mining. That does not impact the gas timing. That is certainly a myth. I think that's kind of like an very outdated sort of concept there. You don't want to actually put it there just because it's not good. It actually interferes with it, if anything. Okay, we're up against CC. So that's you know, and we also went for a 13 pool, which is actually very economic. Generally speaking, you just want to make sure you kind of keep an eye on their Marines to make sure they're not kind of poking out. Sometimes these days Terrans get very aggressive with stuff. I would recommend just making like 4 lings, especially if you went for this kind of greedier opener. Just so that you don't have to deal with random Marines just kind of coming out and killing you. First 100 gas is going to go right into making layer, obviously. Try to chase this down. Nice. Try to set the overlords, you know, good spots. We're just making a bunch of drones. Made a bunker. If they make a preemptive bunker like that, then we can kind of we're basically ahead, right? Because he didn't have to make that bunker. And usually, a lot of times they're forced to make it just because, you know, they... you know, like if they lose their SCV scouts, they have no other choice. Make sure you don't get supply blocked around this time. So I like to make my Overlord around like 23, 24. Then we're going to go ahead and make our Spire. So again, this is a very macro-oriented build. So, you know, I actually don't know exactly where to put your overlords on this map. Oh, I made 2 overlords. That's actually a huge mistake. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave it at that, I guess. And at around 35 drones, we'll make 2 more overlords to make way for mutas, right? Around this time, yeah, if they're coming out, they would come out right now, basically with a academy push. But it looks like they're actually not, so I'm gonna cancel that. And then, oh geez, I messed up really bad. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired. So basically what you want to do is make an overlord at each base. 1 at each base, but since we already overmade an overlord, we only need to make 2. But I really messed up my build bad because I accidentally made 2 overlords over there. That's unfortunate. But we will still play on with the build, even though we made a mistake, because sometimes we make mistakes, right? Sometimes that's Brood War. Sometimes we just make mistakes. It's always a good idea to just plant these other overlords by, you know, like the cliffs of other main bases, right? We'll go ahead and make 9 mutas, and when you make 9 mutas, we go ahead and make a 3rd base. And right after that, we go ahead and make a Hydra Den. And right after the Hydra Den, you go up to 11 mutas. And then after that, maybe get a Overlord. And usually, for 3H muta, you want to make... you basically, ideally, would want to make Zerglings at this time. Okay. However, if you feel as though they're not really doing anything, like they're being super passive, you can make drones, okay? It's a little greedy, but it is a bit of a punish that you could do. And so what I'm actually going to demonstrate is I'm actually not going to attack with my mutas at all unless I absolutely have to, okay? And basically, we just want to make some Hydras to defend our 3rd base, and we just really want to buy time. And in so doing, we just kind of mix between making units and workers. Every time you can make a worker, that's always a good idea. And again, you see how we're just kind of, you know, even if you force stems out, right? You know, you're basically doing damage, right? And basically, they really should be on the offensive. If they're not on the offensive, then we can safely assume that we're very, very, very ahead and in a good position. And when you're in a good position, you can, you know, get things like, you know, your Hive, your Evo Chamber. And notice how I'm trying to buy time by staying behind my opponent, right? Let's see where they actually went. You see, try to get them to chase you, right? And then when you have lurker upgrades, you can do that. And once your lurkers are like kind of en route, so to speak, you're basically safe. And at that point, you can go ahead and just make a bunch of like workers at this point. Go straight to Hive. Notice how many workers I'm making, right? Because at this point, I'm basically completely safe, right? There's no way for them to really bust. They kind of missed their window already. Try to shoot for maybe, you know, 6 lurkers-ish, right? And again, just notice how I'm not even doing anything with my workers. I mean, my mutas. I'm just buying time. Okay. You really just want to make as many as you can get away with, right? Like right now, this person is just like not pressuring at all. So therefore, I'm making a lot of drones. Like this is really bad for Terran. They should never be letting me do this, right? I'm just losing all this, and that's okay, right? I'm so far ahead right now. It's crazy. It's super crazy how far ahead I am. Okay, and just the most important thing is just buying the time. And honestly, if you find that you've already bought enough time, then you don't even have to really do much with your mutas anymore, okay? The most important thing also is to make sure that you upgrade your Get Defiler mounds as soon as you can. I would get, you know, a pair of Scourges, some Lings, Crackling upgrades, right? Basically getting all your tech out. And if you have nothing to really do, then, you know, just leave your mutas over here, right? Maybe send some Lings out, right? Nidus Canal over here, right? But also make sure you're very disciplined on the timing at which you get your Defiler, one, and then also make the Consume. You can make, you know, a few more Hydras if you want, just as like reserves. If you really want to be safe, you don't want to die to some dropships, then you can just start to, you know, make, you know, a preemptive sunken colony. Because we're so rich right now, we can really do anything, right? And so we can kind of just send the Lings out. If you have the APM, try to, you know, like, do this. I like to kind of make this little wall with sunken in a spore colony, right? And with that wall, I like to just also stack all of my things. Oh, it looks like there's going to be a tank push, which is certainly a little bit dangerous. And then if that happens, just bring everything over. Oh, we might actually just be dead. We don't have... Are we, though? Are we, though? Heard Defilers are pretty good. That's really why you want to make sure you have immaculate timing for those, you know, for all these things. And we're going to go ahead and just remake a bunch of stuff. Terran lost their entire army, right? So that means we can go ahead and just remake a bunch of stuff, right? I would just make Defilers, get Plague, you know, make a bunch of Lurkers, right? Like, try to make 4th base if you can. You know, and always, always, always try to have a Defiler in your base, right? And as you take your 4th base, that's usually a good time to also just take an Ultra Cavern, right? Basically, what you want to do is slowly build up to your, slowly build up to a solid count of, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say, actually? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Looks like he wants to come out and push again. Sometimes it's always a good idea to kind of like push forward a little bit, right? They, you know, get into you like that. Try to, you know, have a little bit more defenses. Killed both of those Defilers, right? If they killed a Defiler, make sure you remake them. And once you have Plague, that's when you really can start fighting back against these kinds of things, right? Plague is really when you really start to punish the Terran for kind of like overextending, right? So if I do this, every time you get a Plague off, that's so huge for the thing, your opponent there. I'm gonna make a Defiler over there. It's always, the most important thing is really to just have enough Defilers at each base. Like, I can't stress how important that is. Also, even getting, looks like they might actually even be going over there. Fine. And just, you know, swarm. And if they're so focused on their, what am I trying to say? Their push like this, that means they really can't be focused on anything else, right? And this is kind of the phase of the game where you're literally just playing defense the entire time. Whenever you lose lurkers, remake them slowly. Try to have like fully loaded defilers. When you have kind of like the APM, so to speak, just kind of go out and see if you can find a plague. Make some macro hatcheries if you have extra money. You know, slowly make your ultra upgrades. And notice I'm really not making a lot of, well, see how effective it is to literally just have one worker because we are kind of low on our counts there. I'm just gonna go ahead and also, you know, like make some more stuff, make some more lurkers. And notice how I'm just purely playing defense right now, right? And it's very infuriating for your opponent to play against purely defensive play, right? Like I can't stress this enough, you know? Oh, it looks like he's coming in for kind of a bust there. But is it gonna be enough? I don't know. See, look how annoying this is, right? And once you basically play all this defense, right? Slowly what you're gonna see is that their APM allocation is so focused on trying to bust that they're not gonna have a lot, right? And you know, look, I'm just always trying to, you know, have my defilers out. Let's see if I can even come out here. Are they containing me? They have a third base. Maybe I can scout to see up there. And it's always good to just kind of like send stuff around, right? And once your armor upgrades are done, that's a good way to just get as many, you know, ultralisk and then just hit you and then use all of your money. It's always good to even just consider getting some more upgrades, right? And so a good kind of thing to keep in mind is try to spend all your ultras all at once. Okay. Don't make them kind of like in a piecemeal meal fashion, right? Like, you know, then whenever you see them coming in, plague, right? It's just so infuriating for your opponent to deal with this, right? Like it really is. I can't stress how infuriating this is. And just slowly, just kind of plague. And you can be really slow about it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really have to be super caught. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, looks like they actually got that. And, you know, it's okay. Just keep plaguing. Make sure your upgrades are also on time. Right, let's see if I can get another, like, money plague. I lost that. Let's remake one defiler. See if I can even kill one of these vessels. You can preemptively swarm. Right? Look how much you could defend with just like, you know, one swarm at a time, right? And it's really important to just kind of play like the style of being infuriating, you know? And look at my money just kind of go up, and that's okay, right? Let's get some more lings behind this, see if I can even play again. Can I reach it? Yes, I can. And it's so infuriating. I just can't emphasize how much like Terrans will just mauled by doing this. And as you do all that, right? Now I have the universe, and so once you have all the ultras, you can go ahead and just you know, a move, and then, you know, if they're still out there, then we just keep swarming, right? And again, I'm just trying really hard to just be very you know, controlled with my attacks there and my defenses. It's always a good idea to expand like as your ultras kind of come out, but I suspect this guy's can just gonna be done. And again, it's just good practice to like always have your defilers, right? And like see if they're, you know, still in front of your base. Are they? I don't know. If they are, they'll just, you know, plague and just like your mindset is to just be as annoying as possible. You know what I mean? Like it's just try to be really annoying, you know? I promise you, like, that's gonna be the theme of like the series, right? The theme of playing Zerg effectively is truly just to be, like, try to piss off your opponent, right? Try to be like Bob Ross. And it's okay, if you lose to just like superior mechanics, let that be, you know, just let that be, you know? Because Zerg's mechanics, core mechanics, are very, very, very annoying, okay? And just be annoying, right? Like, just randomly cast a swarm, right? You don't want to die to some, like, stupid attack there. I'm going to cast a swarm here, you know, I'm just going to make sure I'm always fully loaded, right? Um, and, yeah, so basically you just want to do that, right? All right. Oh, you don't hear my in-game sounds? All right, let me look at some questions. Is there a drone count you're aiming for? Yeah, so, I would say that in ZBT, you at least want one mineral patch, one drone per mineral patch, right? I usually don't count my drones like as precisely as I do in ZVP. Because in ZVT, in that phase, as you're trying to tech to Hive, you really are just trying to survive, right? So you just don't have as much mental capacity to, you know, keep track of your drone, so to speak, right? I mean, you can. It's just so many things are going on, and then like one thing that happens to me is you know, you'll start making a bunch of tech buildings, right? You make 2 Evo chambers, you make a defiler mound, you make a Nidus canal, you make, you know, additional sunken colonies, and then you make, you know, hatcheries, right? And so it's hard in the moment to keep exact count of like your drones, so to speak, right? So I would just say you at least want to be at a point, like just eyeballing of, you know, having, you know, like 1 drone per mineral patch to adequately defend and adequately go down. And obviously, eventually you should try to shoot for like 1.5 drones per mineral patch. I would say that's a pretty healthy number. That should get you to, you know, some anywhere from like 35 to 45, kind of similar to what you see in ZVP. But you, and I guess the tricky thing in ZVT is a lot of times you're gonna be gas starved. So there's gonna be a temptation to just like spam a bunch of lings, and like yeah, you can make lings. Without leftover money, you just make some hatcheries and stuff. And yeah, that's basically what you're doing. So, what's Zerg's game plan? Yeah, so good question. I would say I'm not so in these series, I'm not gonna play aggressively with my lings and mutas. Okay, I'm going 3 hatch muta. Again, that's not in style or that's not the meta today. People are gonna you know, flame me for teaching everyone wrong, but I'm kind of trying to teach more broader concepts, so to speak, right? Zerg wants to be aggressive with lings and mutas, right? So if you're an aggressive player, that's for you. I'm trying to show, okay, the mutas for 3 hatch, they're not designed to hurt the Terran, they're just designed to live. The upper hand for Terran is in Terran side during the muta stage for 3 hatch muta. And if and only if you can get free kills, then get the free kills, but really you're just trying to live. Most Terrans at this level are not going to be punishing you the right way, which is to, you know, 5 racks pressure, snipe your third base, utilize really, really good macro, right? And so I'm basically trying to demonstrate I could probably outplay a lot of these Terrans without firing a single Mutilus shot, right? And I'm trying to demonstrate the point that, you know, you have to think beyond the mutas, so to speak. Does that make sense? Like, if you play 2 muta, then you have to play aggressive. You have to get damage done. You have to kill SCVs, right? I'm trying to show, like, the mutas are kind of the bridge to the late game, and I could get to, and I can accomplish that without killing a single Marine or a single SCV by just buying time, right? So if you can't, even if you can't muta micro at all, I'm just kind of showing like you could just fly back, use your positional advantages, make them stem, you know, let them sink all their APM into attacking you, and then just buy time and go right into Hive Tech. And so as you get into Hive Tech, basically you just want to not die, right? You don't want to die to a tank push. You don't want to die to drop ships. You don't want to die to vessel pushes. You don't want to die to just random, you know, your lurkers out of position so they go and bust you. There's so many things Terrans can do to kill Zergs, kind of at that 8 to 10 minute window, I'd say, right? And your job, that's the most stressful period for every Zerg player, right? And that's why a lot of Zergs go 2H muta these days, because they don't really like that, like just playing, you know, passively all the time, right? They kind of want to take the aggressive action into their hands, right? So, and you know, there's no real advice I can give other than just experience and practice on just like not dying to drops, not dying to a frontal assault, not dying to your third base getting busted, right? Not dying to a tank push, right? Like, there's just, you just have to deal with it. You just have to learn it, and you just have to just kind of just mechanically get through it, right? You know, it's really just about plugging in all the holes, and it can be difficult. And every time you have a moment to breathe, then you go and make drones, right? And then you slowly go into ultra tech, etc., etc. So it's a very, very passive type of game style from like 9 to, I would say, about 16 minutes. Around, you know, 15, 16, 17 minutes, that's when that ultra explosion comes in, right? And I think it's important to kind of know that you should always try to go for that explosion, so to speak. Now, if you can't, then, you know, that's okay. Notice I didn't start making my ultras until the armor upgrades were up, when I started banking a bunch of stuff, right? Because my intention was fully allocated towards just not dying and getting my economy set up, right? So it's okay if you're banking money. Banking money is absolutely okay. In fact, it's actually something you should do in ZVT, right? Because that ultra timing allows you to bust out. Oftentimes you just win. It allows you to take your 5th and 6th base, or at the 5th base at the very minimum, right? It just kind of swings the advantage into Zerg's favor, assuming you didn't take too much damage getting there. Oh shoot, I was gonna, whoops, I was gonna play Overpool, oops. Let me play 11 hatch this game, but, I have a brain fart. My head really hurts today, so I'm gonna be a little bit slow, guys. The 11 hatch is a very fine build. Go ahead and scout. You're going to be floating 1 larva just for a little bit. And we're going to do the kind of same thing, right? We're going to play a very infuriating muta-based style, if they allow us to, and I suspect a lot of our opponents will allow us to. When the probe gets to your base, make sure they're not cannon rushing you. You can even send a drone down preemptively if you're worried about the cannon rush. Scout our opponents. I don't really see them. I suspect they're at top left. It's cross position, so we're going to make our 3rd base. No, it's a lecturing stream. It's not really like a... speed run or anything like that. Make a hatchery. Make a, you know, I'm a extractor, right? We'll make some lings just because we don't know if it's really gate expand. Okay, it's a cannon expand. And then we'll just go ahead. So right now, hatch first is always going to be Zerg advantage against cannon. Forge fast expand here. So we should be feeling good. Feeling good about ourselves. Hatch first is a very strong build. It is very, very, very strong. I would say in general, it's a good idea to try to block off the vision of your opponent as much as you possibly can. Just because you always want them to wonder if you're going for a Hydra bust or not, right? So as long as they don't know, you know, that's always a really good place to be in, right? That said, I would also just recommend like maybe keeping a Ling at their front base always, right? Mainly because you want to be able to tell when their zealot push is coming out. Be kind of macroing. I will make my movement speed there. I'll also stress the importance of 1 drone per mineral patch with this 5 hatch Hydra build, right? And so notice how I'm not oversaturating. I got 9 drones there, right? We want 7 drones there. Now that we have 7, we'll send every incremental drone over there, right? And then we'll see if there's any +1 upgrades. So the +1 upgrades, sometimes it can actually telegraph that they're going for a really fast zealot push, okay? So we'll kind of keep that in mind, right? And also keep in mind, you know, what their zealot count looks like. They only have like 1, but they really made a super fast zealot, right? So this build generally oops, I didn't mean to get that. People got all excited about that. Get that. 32 hatchery, 35 5th hatchery. We'll kind of move these overlords out of the way. Eventually they'll kind of come back home here. Looks like he's actually moving out. A good rule of thumb is don't panic too hard about the zealots. Only make the zealots if they cross the halfway point of the map, okay? So carefully note that I'm waiting for them to cross. Okay, now that they've crossed it, now I'm gonna make some more lings. Because a lot of times they can actually just turn right back around, right? It looks like he actually is turning right back around. Or is they? Okay, they're gonna go over there. Yeah, he's actually just turning around. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and we can probably chase them, because if they pass the halfway point like that, especially in cross spawns, we can probably even just chase them down. And then with our if we can kind of block this. With our extra food, we want to start making a bunch of Hydras. You can even toss a Ling in their base to just kind of see, you know, do they have that many zealots? Not really, right? So I'm not too worried about stuff, but let's just go ahead and kind of go on with our build, right? And the most important thing here is we really want to have good SimCity, okay? And just take a moment to just really notice that I have the hatchery over there that's blocking. I have a Hydralisk then to the left, or like to, you know, to the left of that. That's also going to be zealot tight, so that means the zealots have to go through there. I have a nice little wall off over here, right? Generally speaking, you just make Hydras until, you know, you basically feel safe. And when you feel safe, then you basically move from this 30 drone count into 45. So it's 4 plus 6, 7, 9, 10, right? 10 more drones. That would be 30 plus... What is that? 30 plus 10, which is 40, which means I'm missing about 5 more drones. We're going to make some more hatcheries, because we eventually want to get to the 6th hatchery. It's also kind of a good idea to make your 3rd gas. And notice the power of the SimCity, right? Like, they can't really do much, right? And I didn't even see a single Corsair, right? And so now I think we've gotten to our desired drone count. I didn't even see the Corsair, so I actually can probably just send these like overlords out to just, you know, basically see what's going on. Oh, I realized I forgot to make a Scourge. And I guess I forgot to make it because I didn't see any Corsair anyways. So let's go ahead and make mutas. I'm going to make 11 mutas when I can. So that's 9, right? $10, 11, right? And notice I'm just playing really just passively behind my wall, right? They can't do anything. The only time they can actually do something is if they come out with a... oh, it looks like they do have Corsairs, okay. In that case, that's okay, right? Let's make some Scourge. And just keep hiding behind our wall. Eventually our +2 air weapon should start, right? And if you have, you know, 11 mutas, and now you have a fleet of Scourge, you actually can now fight this head on. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And then we're gonna go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then our 0th hatchery is gonna be over there. And this is where things start getting very, very easy, okay? Where basically we can just move most of our units here. And, you know, I'm gonna suspect that we could probably just, you know, win by just spamming a bunch of Hydras, you know? And 5, 6H, 7SH, 8SH, 9SH. Oh, should be this. SH, 0SH. And you just kind of get used to that over and over. And what we want to do is we kind of just want to hunt, right? We just want to hunt. Right? You can just kind of move forward. You can make a 4th base if you want, but we're really just going to play for like this mini game, okay? This guy has Corsairs, right? We see there's a High Templars over there, right? And even if they have Corsairs, like, honestly, who cares, right? Because it's not even just about having the Corsairs, they also have to be able to use them, right? And I'm just gonna kind of sit here and say, okay, look, I'm just gonna try my best to just snipe the High Templars. If they play really, really passively like that, that's fine. And notice my supply, right? I have like probably just a little bit more than 45 drones. And look at how many units I'm able to produce, right? And because they're playing like deep in their base, right? We want to make sure we don't, you know, lose anything here. And if they kind of move out, you know, let's see if we can even snipe this High Templar. There's one. Killed one. Oh, I messed that up. Let's just continue to see if we can find any more. If they don't have any High Templar, then there's nothing to worry about, right? You can kind of patrol in the back, and I'm just making a bunch of Hydras, right? Like, I'm literally doing nothing else but making a bunch of Hydras. I'm just gonna see if I can find some High Templar. There they are. 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna run away. Because now we've killed all their High Templar, right? We killed 5. Now we can just go and just basically A-move all of our units. And you don't even have to watch, right? We know this is already over. And then with your leftover mutas, honestly, you could just find some more hydras. And as long as you just, you know, get the High Templar, it's game over, right? So I can literally just suicide in his base. I don't care. I don't care if I'm suicide. I can lose all of these mutas. And I don't even need to micro the hydras, right? Like, notice how my all of my focus and my attention is just trying to get those mutas, right? And obviously this requires some level of mechanics in terms of like the 5SH, 6SH, 7SH, 8SH, 9SH things, right? Like, it's but it's really not that hard, right? Like, I mean, once you kind of practice that kind of mechanic, you just spam all your hydras and then you just A-move them. I didn't even touch the hydras, right? I didn't even touch them. And so, like, as you get better, obviously you're going to be able to micro your hydras as well, right? But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, this is what you should be focusing on, right? You should be focusing, like, honestly, every ZVP at the lower levels, like at this, you know, D or C rank, you should probably be able to just snipe their High Templar, even if they have Corsairs. That guy had 2-star Stargate Corsairs, and I said, okay, I don't care. Like, I could still go and kamikaze my mutas, and if I get, like, I would say if I get 4, it's probably game over. Okay? You just go and kill them. And I'm just really trying to show the power of abusive Zerg play, right? You really just want to be as frustrating as you possibly can be, right? And as long as you just, you know, fly around with those mutas and you just kind of hunt, your opponent is not going to be spending all of their attention trying to protect their High Templar at a time. That would be a really, really good Protoss player. So you can kind of take advantage of that imbalance of attention by sniping their High Templar and focusing on your mutas while they're, you know, doing other things, right? And for as long as my units just sit back behind my SimCity, they can't do anything, right? The only time they can punish the SimCity is if they bring High Templars. But because I make the mutas at around 9:30, my mutas pop out just as they're coming out for any sort of High Templar push, so even if they have it, they'll be in a lot of trouble. That said, obviously if they have good like Corsair support and everything, then, you know, they could obviously defend it. But I'm saying at the lower levels, oftentimes they just are not able to defend it flat out. Like there's just nothing, not much else to it, right? All right, so we're playing ZVT. Again, we're gonna play a very passive style this time. And we're gonna play with our mutas, and we're gonna try our best to not attack with our mutas. We're not gonna kill a single unit with our mutas, at least not in the mid game. Okay. Now, if I have to, I will. Right? If they go Rambo or if they go for some sort of insane pushes, I'll resort to attacking. But I'll kind of demonstrate. A lot of times, you just don't even have to attack with them. Right? And that sounds kind of stupid, right? Because you always think of Mutamicro as like sniping Marines and, you know, doing all these fancy micro tricks, right? Which is certainly the case as you get better and better. But there's power in mutas just with their existence. So you want to group the mutas with another unit. That's a very fast scout, is it? I don't know. Maybe not. So it looks like we found them already, which is nice. So barracks on the way, so it looks like it's a pretty standard build order. We should expect to see a command center come down. If it doesn't, then it's probably, or it could potentially even be a, you know, a mech type of play. So we're going to see it come down, right? Okay, there it is. And so this is a very normal kind of play from our opponent here. Once you put down that third hatchery, 13 or 14 is fine. You immediately take your third gas. And again, just try to keep track of just like one drone per mineral patch. Now I have 11 here, but that's because I'm going to put 3 over into my gas in a bit. Looks like they're walling off. They most likely are not looking to punish me with some sort of marine move outs, but kind of keep that in mind, right? If they have one marine, then you can kind of counter by making you know, no-lings, right? Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, then just make 4 lings. You know, then you should, you know, just about be safe to about anything. And let's just do that, right? We'll just make 4 lings just for safety. I don't want to do too many technical responses. I'm just saying you guys can do that if you know, have the capacity to. All right, we'll get our first 100 gas. Will go straight to the lair. Keep an eye on their marine count, so they have 2. Let's start punching down this SCV if we can. Next 100 gas will go straight into Zergling speed. And once you get Zergling speed, you want to get your second gas with this build. It's always really good when you actually kill the SCV. Now we can kind of, not contain, but, you know, stay in front of their base. Right now, we're just really just going on with their build. Again, don't get supply blocked. It's really common to hit that supply block at 27. So I make my Overlord at around, you know, 23 or 24. And one thing we want to be careful of here is to just make sure we don't run into any what am I trying to say? Any academy rushes. Academy rushes will kind of move out at around this what am I trying to say here? 5-minute time, so you can kind of come in. If there's a medic, then you know it's going to be an academy rush, but judging from their kind of a marine count, it doesn't look like they're going for a push here, right? Like, if they were, then you would just make a couple of sunken colonies and defend. You basically drone up until 35, and once you have 35, you try to make 1 overlord per base, right? And that's to kind of get you set up for your 9 muta timing. Notice I'm also preemptively sending a drone to go and make some stuff. Make an expansion, sorry. My overlords are gonna go to like these little ledges for the other natural, just, you know, just for additional vision, right? I don't really know exactly where to place all the overlords, honestly. Like I said, I haven't really played these new maps very much. If they move out, then they move out. If you're scared, then you can make 2 sunken colonies. Trying to get a sense of whether or not they're actually moving out, or if they're just kind of moving their army out, so to speak, okay? So it looks like they indeed are moving out on the map. You can probably hold this without the sunken colonies. So I'm actually going to cancel those because, you know, it doesn't even seem like they're going to do that. Now that I have my 9 mutas, I get my den. His army is back there, right? I'm gonna go ahead and try to get to my eventual 11 mutas, right? There it is. When you have more money, then you can go for, there it is. You don't know exactly where his army is. I think he went back home, right? And because he's home, this is a huge error. Because he's home, I'm actually going to go ahead and make drones. And I should not be able to make drones at this juncture, okay? And I'm just going to buy time. Force a stem, force a stem. And then I kind of pull him back. You see how I'm pulling him back, right? I'm not even attacking. I'm not even doing anything. But I'm just trying to buy time and just be annoying. Send 3 Hydras over to your base over there and make 2 more for home. And then, you know, if you have the capacity to, then just try to, you know, like build drones, right? But again, notice I'm not actually attacking, right? Not actually attacking here. I might need to because his units are starting to get kind of close. But let's see how far we can go without actually attacking, right? Block the ramp, make the lurkers. I may have to attack here. Or do I? Do I need to attack? No, not yet. Notice how annoying this is. Like, and I'm just trying to be as frustrating as possible, right? Like, I'm just trying to be as insanely frustrating as possible, right? And how frustrating is it when you just have mutas flying around and they're not even attacking, right? Now I'm making more workers. You know, now I can make, you know, some sunken colonies and, you know, maybe I'll even make like, spore colony over here. Right. And now we're kind of in that boring mode, you know, boring mode. And, you know, with boring mode, you can kind of just, you know, sit back. Again, with extra money, you can just make some extra stuff over there. Hatcheries, I'm sorry. And it is really important to make sure once your hive tech is done, make that defiler mound ASAP, make that Nidus canal ASAP, right? This part is super important. Make that, you know, adrenal glands. Looks like they're actually attacking. If they have a tank push, you know, that could even be a little bit problematic, right? Who knows? We can even just try to use some extra lings over there to see if we could, you know, scout to see any sort of potential tank pushes. Nidus Canal. Get a second Evo chamber, get Consume and Defiler right away, get a Defiler at this base. So again, we're kind of in that phase where we're just kind of plugging in all of the holes, right? Basically just trying to make sure we account for everything, right? Can even just make sure you don't get, you know, supply blocked. If you have money, then, you know, just make a sunken colony, right? Sunken colony. Maybe make another Hydra, right? Some, you know, melee upgrades, right? You can even bring some lings over here to kind of just patrol, maybe like a few scourges. You're kind of like at a buffet, you know what I mean? You're kind of just like, yeah, a little bit of everything. You know. Should probably send some lings to like your third base over here to make sure you don't get, you know, bamboozled by any sort of dropship play, right? You know, basically you're kind of just doing a little bit of everything here. If you have time to drone, then you can make some more drones. I feel like I have some time to drone. Now that I've consumed outs, get your plague upgrades ASAP, right? And honestly, like if you have your consume and they're, you know, you kind of anticipate that they're, you know, out here, and if they're out there, then you go ahead and try to expand. Every time you lose, you know, some lurkers or something, then usually a good time to remake some, right? Try to be fully loaded. We lost some units there. Let's make some more, let's make an ultra cavern. Let's just try to see what's kind of going out in the front of our base, right? You know, and you can honestly also just like push out, just make a preemptive swarm if you're worried. You know, now it's just kind of Bob Ross time. And if you have like extra APM left over, it's always good to kind of push out and basically gain ground, right? And whenever you do this, you kind of just make Terran... Oh. Oh, God. Okay. That happens. And it's unfortunate. But, you know, try your best to stay alive if you possibly can. Fortunately, we're going to lose all that. I will say that that is very expensive for them to do. So I will just say it's not the absolute end of the world. So, you know, take heart. Don't give up. Get your ultra upgrades going. Make some more lurkers, defiler, zerglings. More defilers. More defenses. Wow, it's very infuriating that he got that. But good on him. Let's make some more defilers over here before they're able to plague. Let's just make a preemptive thing. You can also plague an unborn Ling. That's also a thing. Kind of go on with your builds. See if you can get a plague off. That would be great. Boom, headshot. Don't give up. Slowly get your ultra upgrades. You want to basically make sure you replenish your gas. That's super important. Watch out for those dropships again. And continue to try to drop in. Don't give up. Make sure you just kind of stabilize as much as you can. When you lose a, remember, when you lose a defiler, always remake them. If you're worried about more drops, then continue to just defend, defend, defend. If you want to make more sunken colonies, make them. Make more defilers. If you're worried about a bust, then preemptively make that, right? It's annoying because I kind of messed that up. See if I can get any sort of plagues off. That would be great. Make some more defilers. Let's get a plague. Great value. Defend, defend, defend. See if I can get another plague off, maybe. Let's see what that's up to. Swarm. I'll start making some ultras if we can afford it. And hopefully we can kind of get Big Brother in here. Can we though? I don't know. We need some help. Got that base, which is unfortunate. But we have ultras, so we're gonna attack their third base if we can. I'm gonna try to actually even expand. And we're really dependent on this push, dealing a lot of damage. Even try to bring our things over here. Kill as many scourges as we can. And try to just come out with ultras. See if we could pop some of these. Here. A move is the enemy of turn. Try to, and really it's so important to just try to get the vessels. So whenever you can, just try. Looks like he's trying to just kind of play pretty aggressively there. Okay. Find some gas. All we need is really just some gas up in this. Honestly, if you wanted to just be like as solid as possible, then you would actually just bring ultras with these attacks here, right? We'll just try to bring everything if we can. Right, and it's really frustrating for them to deal with all of this, right? Like, it really is. Can't really emphasize how annoyed Terrans get. And once the Defiler enters their base, that's when it's truly checkmate, right? Get some more, you know, stuff here. And we were able to just win by being very resilient, right? Very resilient. Yeah, we almost got busted. But we stayed strong. We stayed strong and we did not cave to, you know, that's what I mean by just trying to not die, right? It's really hard. Obviously, if we're using more mechanics and multitasking, I'd be scouting, I'd be proactively trying to defend drops, but unfortunately ZVT is just a matchup where they can just make 4 drop ships and then just drop you and then sorry, you lose. That's ZVT. So I guess like one thing that I was trying to demonstrate there was, you know, I was trying to stabilize before I started making a lot of ultras, right? I was kind of powering them up. And the ultras kind of like come out as like a very concerted move rather than something that you just start spamming the second you have money, right? And you can go on the offensive, so to speak, with their containments with plagues. Plagues start to... It doesn't kill anything, but every time you get a money plague up, it really it's a huge deal. It's a really, really big deal. So for every plague you can get off, just swarming everywhere, not dying, right? Allocating your attention and doing that, and then slowly building up your bank to make ultras is basically the name of the game, right? And then once your ultras are out, yeah, like you should try to bring a Defiler every time with your attacks, but it's really hard sometimes to just like stay sane. But, you know, in those kinds of games, it benefits you to just kind of be the swarm and just like send units everywhere and then just try to like create chaos, so to speak. So, all right, hope that was helpful. See what we got for the next game. Maybe I'll play one more and then 1 or 2 more and then probably call it. It's going to be a shorter stream today. Alright, got a Terran player. And we almost got busted by their drop, right? But don't give up. If you have, don't give up. If you have like 3 bases and Hive and, you know, like mining bases and stuff, you really can come back into the game. Hive tech is very strong. that said, like you have to basically rely on your opponents to make mistakes and blunders, but Terran's a very difficult race to play, and they're almost certainly going to make blunders, especially at the lower level. So just kind of hunt for those blunders, and even at the higher levels as well. It's not that, like, you know, every Brood War is such a really difficult game that there's going to be weaknesses and blunders, you know, and you know, it doesn't happen all the time per se, but I would just encourage you guys to like really hunt for them. Don't assume your opponent is like a perfect AI that's doing everything perfectly, right? Always try to be optimistic and yeah, find the damage that you need to find. So yeah, Flash is back. Hopefully you guys can hear the game sounds a little bit better now. But I'm proud that I was able to hold that without actually attacking with my mutas, right? Now imagine if I started attacking with my mutas, right? Maybe closer to A rank I'll have to start attacking with them, but I wonder if I could not attack with them through B rank, right? And if I could get past B rank Terrans without even attacking with my mutas, there's no excuse for you guys to, you know, say, oh, my micro's not good. Well, I'm not even microing my mutas, and, you know. That said, I will say intelligently positioning your mutas is a form of micro, so I wouldn't say I'm not microing them at all, but, you know, point stands that there's nothing stopping anybody in the universe from flying mutas around and not attacking them. Like if you can't even do that, then, you know, I'm sorry to say, like, you know. Okay, this really just looks like a normal expansion timing. We're gonna make our third hatchery. We'll make the gas. We're gonna see if we can maybe poke in there and see. I don't know if I can quite. I don't really know this map that well, but it really does look like a bio opener. I would be very surprised if it's not. Technically, it's possible, you know, that it's not, but we're going to 12 drones over here so that we could transfer 3 on gas right when it works. No, that's I think that's the right wall, actually. We want to make some Lings ASAP because we know they had at least 2 Marines, so those 2 Marines could be marching across the map. So we want to at least make a pair of Lings here, just otherwise it'll be a little bit too greedy. Marine move-outs are honestly really frustrating to deal with, so just kind of, you know, do that. Okay, so I got my Lings out. I don't know where... things are. We're gonna make Ling speed. We're gonna make our second gas. Okay, I guess his SCV just left. It's like the Marines tried to catch me right and dirty. We'll make our Overlord. Let's make a few more Lings, just because we don't actually know. Well, looks like he's staying back over there, so I'm not too worried. But when in doubt, just make some Lings. Maybe like 8 Lings is probably a good number. Maybe you can also just send 1 Ling in front of their base just to make sure like you're not getting hit by some sort of academy timing. So academy timings would, you know, kind of come out soon, right? They would almost come out right about now. He's moving back. I don't know where to plant my Overlord, by the way. But if their units are back there, then we're safe, right? Once you're at 35, we go ahead and make overlords, 1 at each base, right? Because they're not pushing out, this is not an academy timing, therefore I don't need my 2 sunken colonies to not die. Oh, my dog's barking. I should get him, but I can't because I'm in the middle of a stream. I don't know what he sees out there though. Alright, so we're continuing to just monitor the situation here. Once our spire is done, go ahead and make mutas. This smells like a 5 hatch muta, 5 racks muta play. Once you make your 9 mutas, we go ahead and make our 3rd base and our den, right? Looks like he's moving out. So this guy is playing this pretty well, actually. So usually the Marines do want to move up forward, okay? And if he is playing forward like this, that is actually the right way to play it. And against somebody like this, somebody like somebody who's doing the right thing. Remember the other games? I was actually making drones, but that's really greedy. That's basically assuming your opponent cannot actually is just bad at the game, right? Instead, we're gonna go ahead and make some lings, right? And again, we're gonna do kind of the same business here. And what we want to do is, if they're moving out like this, or are they? Then you basically want to bum rush them with Ling Muta. You want to send 3 Hydras all the way over there. And see where their Marines are. If they're not there, then again, force out the stems. Remember, doing stems is damage. Remember, like, forcing stems out is actually damage. Now, if they're all the way back here and they're not aggressive, now I can honestly start making drones, right? Force the stems if you can. If you're not, that's okay. But notice I'm like utilizing my positioning to just, you know, more or less hold them back, right? And I'm using my positioning to kind of like drag them back home as well, right? And once we have our Hydras out there, then we're, you know, good. So we can make lurkers, lurker, and then use this guy to block the ramp. Make some more lurkers. If you're scared, make a sunken colony over there. If you have money, make an Evo chamber. 1 first. Again, notice. Look, you see the threat of the mutas here? I'm not even attacking with them, right? I'm literally not even attacking, and they're just just look how much damage the mutas are doing without even inflicting any, like, and it's kind of funny, right? Like, he's probably like, what the hell is he doing? This guy must suck. He goes there, then, you know, sometimes they can like get a fat bust going. That's the case, just, you know, make sure if you have, usually if you have 3 lurkers and a sunken colony, you're not really gonna get busted. But for precaution, you could just, you know, get more if you're worried. Now that the muta phase is over, we'll just move some stuff back home over here. Remember, we want to stay on top of our, you know, production. It's always good to make a few more Hydras, kind of just defensively, you know, just to be safe, right? They're not getting up that ramp, so we can just start patrolling. Any sort of extra money is going to be allocated into drones and stuff, right? And again, we just want to, sometimes you can also just like send the Ling out just to kind of like see what they're up to. Once the Defiler Mound is done, you really have to prioritize making a Defiler and getting the Consume, just like around every single base, right? Make sure the Nidus Canal goes over there, and again, this is kind of just like defensive mode, right? Just trying to get everything out. And notice like the Lings, they're not even pressuring at all, right? And in this case, like, this is really just a free win for Zerg in many ways. But, you know, we do have to be careful, potentially, of just, like, you know, like... what am I trying to say? Like, the 4 dropships, right? Again, if you're worried, just, like, make a random sunken colony, right? We saw last game that almost ended us. Keep making some more drones. Once you have Consume done, we'll get another Evo Chamber when you have money. If you can, try to get your Ultra Cavern right as you're slowly taking your 4th base. Now, once you have Consume, I would say it's probably a good time to kind of just like move down and try to take your 4th. That's a good idea to do this if you have the APM. Once your Consume is done, you know, make more, you know, Defiler Plague. Again, you want to make sure you don't, like, die to any sort of shenanigans here. So I'm going to move some more units over here, right? Slowly get all your upgrades going. Ultra Armor first, right? Maybe get another Defiler if you're worried. Some Scourge. You know, it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like Buffet Zerg, you know? If you're worried, again, just make a preemptive Swarm, right? You know, even here too, just like, oh, just make a Swarm, why not? You know, just be careful, like, it doesn't hurt that much to just kind of be careful. And once your Plague starts to come out, that's when you really feel really safe there, I'd say. If they're still not pressuring you at all, they might be going for like a mech switch, they might be going for other things. Now that we have Plague, that really changes things, right? We're gonna make some more workers. Let's try to see if we can even, there it is. See if we can continue to Plague over and over. Once you lose Defiler, just remake it. See if we can find a Plague. Can we find a Plague? I don't know. Can we? Let's just bring a Muta out there. Just because Plague is just so worth it. I don't see them. Oh, there they are. Boom, headshot. Start getting Ultra upgrades, right? Maybe just you know, and some stuff over there. Again, now this is like, see what Zerg gets away with when your opponent is playing so passively, you know? It looks like this is going to be a mech switch. You can kind of tell that to be the case because, you know, well, obviously there. But, you know, is it going to matter? Who knows, right? I mean, we're going to make a bunch of units now because we have saturation. Usually against mech switch, I do like getting, Overlord speed just because we would expect mines all over the place. It's also good to get Defiler energy. See if we can also just kind of get another Plague going, right? And honestly, with this kind of economy, I can't imagine like ever losing, you know? Like, it's just kind of this kind of lead is just kind of insurmountable. Getting so many plagues off, right? Let's make a defiler over there, because why not? You want to just A move, and everything, send that defiler over. Again, it's always good to like clear some of the bases and then start taking, you know, like more bases as you can. If you can, just start like sending lurkers and, you know, I mean, I can't imagine, I'm not even gonna watch, I can't imagine in any sort of universe that they will just guard this at all, right? So we're just gonna go ahead and just win. And again, that's what happens when your opponent is playing so passively, like so passively, right? Like, just way too passive, way too passive. You know, this kind of mech switch is, you know, it can be a good play. You just kind of send units everywhere. You know, they try to basically take all the bases, so I'm also going to take a bunch of bases myself. I'm going to just expand everywhere, because look how much money I have, right? Like, and that's kind of the beauty of just, like, taking advantage of passive Terrans, right? Like, when you're just so rich, right? Like, you know, if they don't pressure you, this is what happens, right? Like, this is literally what happens, right? And so ZVT really comes around, like, and like I said, like, you know, we're playing at what, C rank or something. A lot of Terrans just do this, right? Like, I can't emphasize. I mean, like, sometimes you get like super overly aggressive Terrans that try to just win with stim rushes and stuff. But sometimes they just like to sit back and do nothing, right? And, you know, it's important to kind of understand the phases of the game to take advantage of these kinds of Terrans, right? Like, this was the biggest snooze fest I've ever played in my life, right? Like, I literally did nothing other than to just, like, go on with my build. And the Terran just allowed me to just do all of this all at once, right? Like I said, my mutas, you know, they just own themselves with my mutas, right? Like, I didn't even micro my mutas, I didn't attack with them. And then that's kind of just the power of like having a game plan and sticking to it and focusing on the most important things. And just, you know, like I said, when you get to ultras, the game gets a lot easier. And this kind of style that I'm showing is just kind of leapfrogging to ultras and really punishing bad Terrans, so to speak. So, what's up, Nesh? We certainly have link speed. We always get link speed right after lair. Yeah. All right, I'll take if anyone has any questions, happy to do it or answer them. Just because I have to feed my son in about 12 minutes there. I'm not going to start up another game. Some Terrans are, yes, they are the D2 summon Necro equivalents. Exactly, so. If the game went on, would you get Hydra upgrades to deal with the mech? No. You can, but I would not. Basically dealing with mech in the mid game, if they open mech, it's, you know, mutas or muta Hydra, and then like, or, you know, and then muta Hydra like queens and stuff, right? That's one way to deal with them. I would say queens are a very high level move, just because queen broodling is not an easy mechanic to master with everything else going on. Okay, so I'd say like if you're A rank and up, then sure, you eventually move on to queens. Honestly, if you're playing against mech, like mech open, the easiest way to play it is to just spam mutas. It's, you know, it works against at the pro level, you know, it works. It's just really good. I wouldn't even bother with hydras at the lower levels. If they go mech switch, okay, mech switch is like what we saw in that game. You should think about mech switch. Like, think of this analogy, right? Think about Terran building a wall in 5 different places, and a storm is coming, a giant flood is coming, right? And Terran's job while they go mech switch is to expand, lay mines, have tanks, turrets everywhere. And yeah, they're basically trying to build this wall to weather the storm, okay? Once ultras are out, basically there is a giant flood, okay? And you can attack any one of their 5 bases that they're trying to go to. And the second you find a hole in their wall, like maybe they don't have a tank siege there, or maybe they don't have mines here, or maybe they have a weak spot. Just think about water rushing through a wall, right? Like a flood, and then like that wall just grows and grows and grows and grows. And that's how ZVT works, right? Your job is to find where is that hole. And then once you find that hole, I guarantee you Terran's going to panic, and that's when they start crumbling, right? Because from the Zerg's perspective, you have A-move units. You become the Protoss player. You just have Ultras and Lings. You just spam them here, you spam them there, you spam them there. And Terran just kind of like trying to like you know, defend everything in the entire universe, right? And so I would say like the Zerg has the upper hand against mech switch when they have Ultras and Lings. Now, if you want to play more technical kinds of styles that, you know, there are very like pro gamer heavy, you know, not openers, but like responses such as like they'll go Hydra upgrades, they'll go Ling, Hydra, Queen. It's more efficient than Ultras because Ultras are expensive. I would just not recommend that unless you're S rank and up. It's just really hard to deal with Terran mech. You have to be excellent with your Defilers. You have to be excellent with your Queens. It's just, it's not a recommended style of play. For anything below A rank, just make ultras and spam them, and then just send lings everywhere. And then, honestly, even if you don't watch half the time, you'll probably just win. And then if you watch, like, you know, you'll do even better. So, would I go double spire? No, I wouldn't. Single spire is good enough. Double spire is too gas expensive. The Terran mech has timing attacks that are deadly, so if you don't have enough mutas at a very specific time, then you're going to get screwed. And also, if they scout your double spire, then they know you're heavily committed to mutas, therefore, then they can also like just spam. They can play defensive and just spam like vessels, so I would recommend against double spire. It's more important to get Carapace first because it's most effective against the Goliath anti-air. It really cuts their damage down. What's the most dangerous build Terran can do against Zerg? Just existing. Terran's existence is dangerous for Zerg, I'd say. Terran is just, you know... I mean, it depends on what you mean. Like, you mean at the lower levels, at the pro level, more seriously? Like, I think 8 racks, I would say most Zergs would consider 8 racks to be the most dangerous thing, because if you can micro well, 8 racks can honestly be 50-50 and sometimes just end games. You know, like, 8 racks, I mean, it's always gonna be micro dependent, but like, really, really good Terrans can go 8 racks and not be behind, which is kind of crazy, you know? But, you know, a little bit more seriously, like maybe not at like such a technical answer, but something that might be more representative at the lower levels. I would say you know, Marine Medic, tank pushes. Yeah, 8 SCV star barracks, yeah. Marine Medic tank pushes into a 1 starport dropship is very effective, I'd say. I would say, like, if you're a Terran player trying to bust Zergs on 2 bases immediately, bank up, you know, Marine Medics, get factory, you know, bank up 2-3 tanks, wait for your siege mode. Once your siege mode is done, you know, move out. Obviously, you have to be careful of stop lurkers, but assuming they don't do that, then you make a starport and dropship behind it. And so if you tank push their front, and then with the reinforcements, drop 7 Marines and a medic in their main base, that's like the most. It is such a highly effective move. It's like a kind of a really strong 1-2 punch that, you know, works really well at even S rank as well if you execute it really well. So I would say that's something that's very dangerous for Zergs, because you're frantically trying to not die to the tank push. Not to mention you have a drop coming in, and so it's just hard to like defend both. So yeah, that's about it. All right, I'm gonna call it for today. I am really tired, and I have to feed my son. My cracked out of my minds, but hopefully that was helpful for you guys. So we will come back hopefully tomorrow, I think, and, you know, continue the stream. I'll be posting these all on my YouTube, by the way. If you guys miss any of these, maybe I can just like link that really quick. I'm a little bit slow. I think I'm on like day 4 for my ZVP streams and stuff, but feel free to catch up on them over there. And yeah, all right, peace out, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and your holidays. So